So I'm going to get right to it. My page is going to be a little different than some of my colleagues because I'm a little more aggressive about how I feel about my eyesight and my condition, and I'm quite sarcastic and often have a pretty filthy mouth. I'm definitely going to try and limit that as best as possible, put on that filter. Um, but I wanted to start this with an experience that I had recently. I just got married on the 13th of October of 2018, and immediately after the ceremony and the reception, we went to the Dominican Republic. And getting down there was like fine, and I used my now husband as my sighted guide, and he's excellent. And so we have a wonderful time down there, and a resort and beach and all that wonderful stuff. And then we take the 2.5 hour crazy van ride back to the airport. And when we get to the airport, it's very different than here in the US as far as like policy and protocols and stuff like that. But we get to the gate and I get priority boarding because it takes me a lot longer to find my seat and get situated. And when I'm in the mass of people, getting on in regular boarding, I can be a huge hindrance to everybody else trying to get their things done. So we utilize the priority boarding for that reason to kind of, save everybody else and save me some anxiety and, whatnot. So they call for priority boarding, and it's always a really awkward situation for me. It makes me feel, you know, it makes me feel bad sometimes because I know my situation, but I don't look like I need any help or, special treatment, and I understand that, it's human nature to judge. And so I know that people are looking at me like, well, why is she there? And like, it's something that I struggle with, but, I have to, understand that it's okay for me to need help. But in this situation, I'm standing with my sighted guide, my husband, in line behind three people in wheelchairs. And as we're standing there, one of the people are going through and they're talking to each one of the people in the wheelchairs in front of me. And they seem to be getting information and stuff. And I start to notice that maybe they are not thinking that I'm part of this group. So then one of the airline girls comes over and she's doing the same thing and she's checking their tickets and yada yada. So we stand there for a minute. They haven't acknowledged or talked to me yet. And as we're there, this younger girl pushes a wheelchair up next to me and kind of gets in front of me with a service dog. Then she sits down in that chair and has the dog in her lap. Immediately, the employees come over to her and start asking, her information. And I was furious. And I had learned the word for blind before we were going down there because we figured it'd be quite useful. And it did come in handy. And I'm like, soy ciega. At the one guy. And he's like, he looks at me and I'm like, soy ciega. And, I am blind. And he's like, oh, okay. And then the girl, she was ignoring us. And so I said the same thing to her. And I was in tears by the time we got onto the plane because it was like that was a perfect example of how I don't look blind enough or I don't look disabled enough. And it's really hard for people with, with invisible disabilities that, aren't talked about or people aren't educated enough about. And so it's exhausting to try and educate every person that you meet on the street. This is what I am and this is why I'm blind and this is how much I can see and this is normal and whatever. And I used to try and do that, but it's tiring. And so, I mean, here, maybe, I can actually reach some people and, make a bigger impact. But I just wanted to share that story because it was, I think, part of the fuel really to do this because I found these other people, the other YouTube personalities and watched many of their videos. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, we need more of this. we need more people to go, spread the word and educate people about, different versions of disabilities and how, they are all, in a ways, similar to each other, and they're all on, even playing ground. Some are worse than others. Some have their benefits, some, whatever. And if more of us are on here sharing our perspective, then maybe more people will see it and understand it. And maybe next time they see, a person standing in line with the other disabled people, maybe they won't just assume that she's fine. And maybe they'll be more like the airline person at leaving the United States. There was like, I ask once, and if they say they are, then, like that's it. Like that's how, that's a great philosophy, because I mean, who's going to lie about it? Like really, like it's embarrassing enough asking for the help. Like it's not a comfortable feeling. So, just, trust that people aren't trying to scam the system. But anyway, I hope this isn't too aggressive as a first video, but it really shows my personality and would give you a good indicator on whether or not, I'm the kind of person that you want to hear more from. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.